What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Darian, the bow tie fragrance guy. I love looking good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. Tonight I want to talk about 10 fragrances in my collection that are very, very addicting. Now I know that fragrances in general, the hobby, collecting fragrances in general, can kind of be an addiction in itself. And to be quite honest with you, this was one of the most difficult lists for me to put together because, I mean, honestly, all the fragrances in my collection, for the most part, to some degree or level, is kind of addicting to me. But I just wanted to pick out 10 special fragrances. Shout out to Jay Copeland, my boy Jay Copeland. If you guys have never checked out his channel, you know, why don't you do so? I'm pretty sure you guys, most of you have heard of Jay Copeland, but if you haven't, check him out, man. He's one of the most genuine dudes in this whole community. So, you know, shout out to Jay Copeland. I saw him do this list. I thought it was interesting. And I thought to myself, hey, you know, why not give it a go? Pick out 10 of the most addicting fragrances in your collection. I love doing these kind of things. It's kind of fun to take an account and kind of an attentive perusal, if you will, of the collection and see, you know, what kind of fragrances make these kind of lists. So, you know how we do, guys. If you want to know what the most addicting fragrances are in my collection, for me personally, keep it locked right here. Guys, thanks for keeping it locked in with me. Let's go ahead and jump right into this list. I'm not going to belabor the time. The first fragrance on the list tonight that I want to talk about, I absolutely adore this fragrance from the house of Crete. This is Crete Spice and Wood. Gorgeous scent, absolutely gorgeous scent. What I get with this one, it's kind of a green vibe to it. It's kind of green, it's kind of earthy at the same time. But what I love about it is how it blends so well with the fruity notes in here. It's very, very, like I said, it's very woody, as the name indicates, but I love the fruitier notes in this fragrance. It's such an elegant, such a refined scent. And we talk about scents that are addicting. Of course, when I think about that, it's just scents that when I spray it, a lot of times for me, it's the complexity of it, how the notes blend together. It keeps me wanting to come back and keep, you know, sniffing my wrist or my hand or wherever it is that I've applied the fragrance. And this is definitely one that does that for me. Again, such an elegant scent, guys. If you've never put your nose on spice and wood, it is an experience. And I definitely encourage you to do so. I love to smell this stuff on my skin. So that's why I made the list, man. From the house of Crete, this is Spice and Wood. The next fragrance that I want to talk to you guys about is from the house of Gerjoff. This is a Gerjoff fragrance. I've talked about this fragrance a couple times on the channel, but man, again, this is one of those fragrances that could give a class on opinion what a fragrance should be. From the house of Gerjoff, this is Casamarati 1888. Such a unique fragrance right here. And for me, with a lot of fragrances on this list, that's kind of a theme. A lot of these fragrances are very interesting, and that's one of the things that keeps me coming back to it over and over again. With this one right here, the star player is a carnation note, so it's a floral carnation, but there's some very what I refer to as resinous notes in this one. And of course, when you think about a floral note like carnation, something that's, you know, I would say it's one of the extreme floral notes, like carnation, jasmine, notes like that. And you combine that with, again, darker notes. Such an interesting blend and combination of notes in this composition right here. And that's what makes it, again, so interesting to me. You get the floral nature. It's a little bit powdery, but you also get this kind of vibe of like a root beer. And again, just an awesome scent, man. I can't stop smelling this stuff when I put it on my skin. This is from the house of Gerjoff. This is Casamarati 1888. The next fragrance on my list that I want to talk to you guys about, this is from the replica line. This is from Maison Margiela. This is Jazz Club. Jazz Club. Absolutely love this one too. When I first got it, I was such a big fan of By the Fireplace, which I still am a big fan of By the Fireplace, but I am a lover of gourmand scents. This one kind of puts me in the mindset of a gourmand. There's like a vibe of coconut that I get with this one, and I absolutely love that. It of course is supposed to be reminiscent of actually going into a jazz club. So I think a jazz club in the 1920s, you go in there, you kind of got smoky accords, you got a little bit of booze going on, a little bit of sweetness, and as I would probably classify, just a good time. And this fragrance reminds me of that. Again, when I spray this on, I cannot stop going back to my hand and getting a whiff of it. Again, what I really get from it is that this kind of coconut vibe combined with the boozy accords. And oh man, this is some good stuff right here. From the house of Maison Margiela, this is Jazz Club. The next fragrance that I want to talk to you guys about, this is from the house of Nishan. Nishan is becoming, honestly, one of my more adored niche fragrance houses, because everything I've smelled from the house so far, I have thoroughly enjoyed. I'm a huge fan of Fan Your Flames, which really almost made this list as well. That's got a rum coconut combination as well. But I didn't want to have too many fragrances with the same note breakdowns in this list. So this was a little bit newer acquisition to my collection, but man, this stuff is good. From the house of Nishan, this is Ombre Calabria. Oh, man. This stuff opens up with a very fresh lemon citrus vibe. But what's so complex and so interesting about this one is that the dry down, you get sweeter notes like vanilla. To me, this one smelled like I would say like a lemon cookie, if you will. Again, because it opens up very fresh, again, very citrusy, but the dry down, you start to get into some of the more gourmand type notes like vanilla. Man, this stuff is so good, man. If you've never put your nose on this, I'm pretty sure you will like it. You'll be like me. You'll be going back and smelling your hand or wherever you spray this fragrance on all day long, man. From the house of Nishan, this is Ombre Calabria. This next fragrance needs absolutely no introduction. It's a classic fragrance. It has received a lot of acclaim in the fragrance community for good reason. It's because it's that doggone good. From the house of Rose Dove, this is Creation E. Creation E, ladies and gentlemen. This fragrance, of course, opens up with that kind of Coca-Cola vibe. There is a laundry list of notes in this that I won't try to recount, but just know, if you've never put your nose on it, it's something I highly recommend you putting your nose on, because again, I thoroughly feel that this is one that you would enjoy. And just like me, again, you'll be wanting to get, whiffs of this all day long when you put this on. A classic right here from the house of Rose Dove. This is Creation E. This next fragrance that I want to talk about, again, I think I would classify this as another classic in the fragrance community at large. This is not for guys that like fragrances that are easy to wear, just kind of grab and go. This fragrance is not for guys that like those very easy to wear scents, because that's not what this is. This fragrance is fragrance art. And I don't use that terminology with a lot of fragrances, but this definitely deserves to be classified as such. Again, this one is for the frag heads right here, because it's all about the beauty and the art of fragrance with this one. This is from the house of Andy Tower. This is L'air du Désert Marocain. And man, you want to go back and smell this one so much because it's so unique. It's supposed to kind of transport you to kind of a desert, as the name indicates, so it's kind of airy. You get some very warm, ambery kind of vibes and tones from this one. Accords, it's a little bit sweet, just a tad bit sweet, but definitely not overly sweet. Just an absolute piece of art right here I have in my hand. And it's so addictive because it's so complex, and you want to keep going back just to really break it down and understand the fragrance, get well acquainted with this one. Very addicting. From the house of Andy Tower, this is L'air du Désert Marocain. The next fragrance on my list, you guys have probably noticed a lot of times I don't feature a lot of what I would call decants, but this is more than a decant. But man, this fragrance blew me away, honestly, when I first got my nose on this. Shout out to Steven, Redolescence, a fragrance reviewer that got an opportunity to have his own fragrance line. So again, congratulations to Steven for that accomplishment. To me, that's big time. And I got this fragrance from Steven in a sample pack, and man, I was blown away. I'm a gourmand fragrance lover, if you guys didn't know that by now. And this fragrance, I'm gonna stop talking about it. This is from Novitis Parfums. This is Arcanum. This is Arcanum, and man, this stuff is so good. Again, two notes, a note I've already talked about before, which is coconut. This one has coconut in it. It has tonka bean, it has vanilla, and another one of my absolute favorite notes is cinnamon. So man, this is kind of like, reminds me of an apple cider. If you can think about when it's cold outside and before you go out into the cold temperatures, you drink a nice warm cup of apple cider. That's exactly what this reminds me of. This is an absolute beauty of a fragrance, and I'm gonna be definitely getting a full bottle of this one. It's my favorite. He has a lot of good ones, which I'm gonna be doing a kind of my impressions on those fragrances really soon. I'm spending a little bit more time with them, but I don't need any more impressions to know that I love Arcanum from the house of Novitis Parfums. This is a gorgeous fragrance. Okay guys, we're down to my last three. I've talked about this fragrance a lot. I almost left it off the list, but I can't. I just absolutely love it. And if you want to talk about a fragrance that is addicting to me, that I love going back to my wrist or just going into my fragrance closet and just sitting down and getting a whiff of this, is definitely this fragrance from the house of Tom Ford. This is Noir Extreme. And I've talked about this fragrance a lot, so I won't go into a lot of detail about it, but it's so good, man. It's sweet, but it has all of the gourmand vibes that a gourmand fragrance lover craves. The coffee note makes it so unique. It kind of has a pistachio accord, but this stuff is just good, man. It's so addicting. It's sexy. It's good. It's everything. From the house of Tom Ford, this is Noir Extreme. The next fragrance on the list I want to talk about is from the house of Byredo, and this one is Bal d'Afrique. Probably, this is definitely in the top three. Although I wasn't really putting this in any particular order, this would definitely be in the top three fragrances in my collection that is addicting. I want to say just about every time I step into my fragrance closet, whether or not I'm wearing this or not, this is one that I pick up because I just have to get a whiff of this. This one has vetiver and an African marigold note. It's so good. One of the best vetiver fragrances, my favorite vetiver fragrance in my collection, man. Again, I can't get enough of Bal d'Afrique. Another one that I highly recommend if you have never put your nose on to please do so, because this is a good one. This is Bal d'Afrique. Last but not least on this list tonight, this fragrance comes from the house of Maison Kirkjohn, and this is Oud Satin Mood, the sexy and the most addicting fragrance of all. Oh man, what can I say about Oud Satin Mood that I haven't said before? It's just so sexy, man. It's so sexy, and there's a complexity to it that, again, like a lot of other fragrances on this list, that keeps just bringing me back to it. I love it, man. It's rich. It's very sensual. It has oud in it, but it's not at all one of those pungent ouds. I don't really like fragrances that are pungent and loud. I love fragrances like this where the oud makes it very, very sexy, because it's very floral, so it could lean feminine, but there's just enough oud in here to keep it right there in the middle, and that's where I like my fragrances. If I'm going to do something that leans a little bit feminine, it has to have something like this, an element in it that kind of brings it back to the masculine side. It's addicting. I love smelling this fragrance. Of course, that's why I made the list. From the house of Maison Francis Kirkjohn, this is Oud Satin Mood. Okay guys, that's my time. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. You guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're right here with me, and I sincerely appreciate that. Don't forget to take the time to like, comment, and subscribe, and share these videos out to other people that you think could use this information or find me entertaining, because I'm your boy Darian, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.